that showed us around to some of the markets said you have to try the squid. It has suction cups and it sticks to the inside of your mouth and it continues to move while you're chewing it.
Well, that's the thing. So it's a live squid. They cut it up, but it's still squirming around, and then you eat it. But you have to chew really hard. And what kind of scared me was when they said, you know, you can chew it, but if you don't chew it all the way, you could die. I said, well, you know, I've got some work to do while I'm out here, so maybe I'll hold off on that. Maybe take some to go. Off the end of the bat for Ballantine, but he'll take the knock up the middle to lead things off here in the second. So with Ballantine aboard, let's take a look at the World Baseball Classic. Pool play underway here in Seoul and in Tokyo. Miami and Jalisco still to come. Action in the second round stays at Tokyo Dome for the Miami and Jalisco pools C and D. It moves to San Diego in the second round, and then everybody meets in Los Angeles for the championship round. Now it's Jonathan Scope, the second baseman, who went 0 for 4 in yesterday's game. And he takes ball 1. Scope, the 25-year-old second baseman of the Baltimore Orioles. This is his second WBC. Hit .214 with a couple of home runs and 6 RBIs in 8 games in 2013.
Yeah, you look at the lineup of the Netherlands, and you just by name recognition alone, it is formidable.
And Scope, a high drive down the left field line, but that will hook foul.
A great leadoff hitter in Andrelton Simmons, obviously Gold Glove shortstop, but after that, it's one guy after the other that has pop that can leave the yard at any moment. So Song will be very careful with men on. And Scope had no problem, you know, racking up the home runs in Camden Yards as a Baltimore Oriole.
Scope again, driven to left, deep and on the track to make the catch is Chang for out number 1. I can confirm that is not the squid.
Yes, that looks a lot more appetizing. And generous portions here, too.
Generous portions of the cutaways as well. Man, so much flavor around here. It's unbelievable. You get to the 6th, 7th inning and the scents begin to waft up to the booth. We'll try to focus as best we can, but I mean, man, we get hungry up here in a hurry. Didi Gregorius digs in, 1 for 4, DHing again. There was some thought that he might be playing some short, playing some second. DH, there was going to be a bit of a revolving door, that DH spot, with all the talented middle infielders for the Dutch, but Didi back at the DH this evening against Taipei.
Well, the Yankee scouts really did a great job in projecting his talents. Everyone in baseball, you know, knew of his great glove work. And some people had some doubts about whether that bat would develop, but they say a lot of players get better when they don the pinstripes, and this is one guy that has.
That one inside on Gregorius. 27 years old, as Joe mentioned, the shortstop of the New York Yankees, born in the Netherlands, but spent most of his life in Curacao. And as we've talked about, a lot of these players know each other from way back when. This isn't like, yeah, we'll all get together and spend a couple of weeks together and then go play for the national team in the WBC. He played second base next to Andrelton Simmons from the ages of 6 to 16. And that's when Didi moved to shortstop for the first time. And that was one of the things that we asked Hensley Mullins about, all this big league star power on the roster, as Didi rips this one off the wall in right field. To third goes Ballantine. He'll be held up there as Didi a head first dive into second with a 1-out double.
This is how pitchers get stiff necks. You know, trying to follow a line drive when it is absolutely scorched, like Gregorius does here, it's like boom, off the bat, and then the second sound right after it, boom, off the wall. Hit so hard, he was really busting it out of the gaps, out of the box rather, taking no chances to try to make it into second base with a head first dive.
So Ballantine on at third and Didi Gregorius on at second. Gregorius was 0 for his first 3 last night before getting a base hit in the 8th inning. And he scalded that one for his first hit in his first AB here this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. Now the skipper Quo looks on as Kurt.
even though that wasn't necessarily what you'd call just an absolutely stung line drive, we were talking about how fast the track is, not only in the infield, but the outfield. The center fielder, Lynn, was struggling to get over to try to cut that off before it went to the wall.
So with Smith on third and Ricardo at first, that'll bring up Randolph Audubert, who hit a line drive home run in last night's ball game. 2 for 3 with that 2-run shot, 2 runs scored. We've talked about it, but this Dutch team has power up and down the lineup.
Well, the other thing with the star-studded names at the top part of the lineup, these guys are all buddies that grew up with one another, and it also puts, you know, an aspect of friendly competition, you know, with the guys like Ricardo and Audubert. He got into the act last night, jumping on a hanging breaking ball, hit one over the board, so, you know, they don't want to drop the baton when it gets down to the bottom part of the order.
Runners on the corners and 2 out. Squib down the first base line, but foul. Yeah, and even though guys like Andrelton Simmons, Jurickson Profar has power, I don't know if that's necessarily the first thing that pops into your mind when it comes to his game. He has it in his bag for sure. He showed it last night, but because they're major league hitters, when the ball comes off their bat, whether it leaves the yard or not, it just seems to have a different sound.
Bat speed and that real heavy hit where you can almost like feel the compression of the ball. Like a great driver of the golf ball. It has that different sound. They're definitely not coming into the hitting zone and just powder puffing.
Smith off third, Ricardo off first. The 2-1. Toward left center field, moving back a few steps is Chang to put it away. So Taipei works out of further damage, but they surrender a run. It's 1-0 Dutch.